we are building a company that we want to persist for the long haul. I think like a lot of people, we had read Warren Buffett's letters to shareholders, just learned a lot about investing from that and from studying Berkshire Hathaway. But in 2017, we decided for the first time to actually go to Omaha for the annual meeting. And I think we all think of Warren Buffett and Berkshire, and you think about stock picking and you think about investing lessons. But I think what we were surprised to find was just how much of a home for businesses that Berkshire was. And really, they're the best home for businesses. And that really came through in Omaha.
Totally. I mean, there's two things that they do that like really stood out, and we brought over to Evergreen, that they're a permanent home for businesses. When they acquire the companies, they hold on to them forever, and then they're decentralized. They let them operate independently. And for both of us, it really came home when we went to the exhibition hall during lunch, and you see all the underlying companies there under one roof. You know, you have Geico's right next to See's Candies, right next to Dairy Queen. It's just incredible to see all these great brands they've brought under one roof, but allowed them to thrive independently, and they've held on to them for a really long period of time.
And that's just very uncommon. You don't see anybody holding businesses for 50, 60 years. And Berkshire's doing that, and See's Candies continuing to grow and thrive. So on Saturday night, we're kind of debriefing on the day. I remember we were at a bar in Omaha, and I just remember like talking to you and looking at each other and being like, we got to go build this. This is like really special what's been created at Berkshire, and we got to go do something like this. When you would hear Buffett and Munger talk, they would talk about, empowerment, and they would talk about how they don't force businesses together, about how the leaders of each company have like a lot of autonomy, and they really like leave them alone to a kind of extreme degree.
I think we wanted to create that experience for others. That was so motivating for us that we built a great business with that empowerment, and we wanted to create that environment for others. Like if we trust people and we empower them and we let them make decisions closer to the facts, they're going to make better decisions.
Yeah,
too.
I'm going to go a lot farther that way. I remember when we were pitching to the investment committee, one of the things that Alpine told us to do was really focus on finding an industry that you can really deeply understand and kind of apply your model to. And so I remember those early days we would take Fridays, we were still kind of half working at Alpine and half starting this Evergreen thing. And we would take every Friday, it was like Evergreen Fridays, and we would like go to your apartment, or we would go to a coffee shop
across the street from Alpine.
That's right. And we would just work on Evergreen. We had no businesses. We had no idea what industries we were going to focus on. But I remember looking into the managed IT services space, and we'd historically thought of IT services as like not that interesting and project-based and pretty lumpy. And we came across a couple MSPs, and we saw like, wow, there's real customer loyalty here.
Right.
And there's real growth tailwinds around small businesses adopting technology. And that combined with the guidance from Alpine to kind of focus and pick an industry that you really know. Like I remember going pencils down on everything else we were doing and just being like, this is the industry.
Right.
Going, jumping in with 2 feet.
And Wolf Consulting, I feel like really helped us understand the industry quite well, helped us understand how the value proposition had changed over time, from being more time and materials based to being this true recurring revenue business with a really, really strong value proposition. And it's the ideal thing when you're an investor to find a business that's high quality, where the market is kind of misunderstood at that moment in time. And I think we found an opportunity where these are very high quality businesses, but the market doesn't fully appreciate the value of these companies.
Yeah. And then at the same time, like we were starting a little company, like it was just the two of us. We had to set up payroll. We had to get office space. We had
first office just to start.
It was so bad. So bad. I mean, we didn't need much space. It was just the two of us.
We had the interns as well.
We did. Yeah, the interns. And I remember making a lot of poor design decisions. And
very tall cubicles.
Yeah.
But that was like saying the tone of like this kind of scrappy culture. And we're a much bigger company today, but we're still scrappy. And also just we're having fun. There's the two of us building the company together. We're having a lot of fun, and that has continued. Like I still get so much joy out of coming to the office. I think, despite the increased scale of the company, like we don't take ourselves too seriously. We take our work seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. And it's just been a fun journey.
Totally. I mean, we were starting a company with Alpine's backing, but I think we still took this approach of like, it's a real startup, and, we're going to do things on a shoestring. We're going to do them as efficiently as we can. I like to think that ethos is continued on.
Yeah. And the theory around decentralization and buying and holding is played out. Like you think about the businesses we've acquired, so many business owners cite decentralization as the reason why they chose to partner with Evergreen. They wanted to see their brand maintained and see their employees taken care of. And the leaders that we back love the empowerment of being able to run their own business. And the concept of holding forever is holding true. And it's been really powerful for our economic engine and compounding the business, but also the promises we can make to business owners.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when we were starting, we did that retreat into that cabin in the woods. Yeah. There was no internet connectivity. So like you couldn't even look at your phone. It didn't even work if you wanted to. I remember coming up with really like kind of honing in on decentralization, honing in on hold forever, and honing in on like this message to a business owner. Like I think I remember writing like the first kind of script and having some of the first conversations with business owners. Like a lot of it is the same.
Yeah.
There's been some evolution in how we are a growth partner to the businesses, but decentralization and hold forever, it's the same, and it still like resonates with people in the same way.
Right.
Like 8 or 9 years later, which is really cool.
At the retreat, we kind of sketched out on a piece of paper our big, hairy, audacious goal to get to $100 million of cash flow, which was a crazy goal because at the time we didn't even own Wolf Consulting yet. It was just the two of us, and we achieved that goal since then. And now we set a goal that's much bigger than $100 million of cash flow. So it's cool how that became a reality. In that piece of paper.
Yeah. It's crazy how a lot of it is like panned out in many ways, like how we thought it could. And in some ways, it's like exceeded our wildest dreams.
Yeah, the one other aspirational part was just like the mission, right? To be the best home for businesses and their leaders. And I feel like we're living up to that today. And one cool thing about today versus then is seeing everyone else on the team going out there and like carrying that message out to the market and living up to it, more importantly, day-to-day with our business owners, with the leaders that we're backing. And it's just cool to see it having come to life.
We are building a company that we want to persist, right? Like for the long ball. It's named Evergreen. We have this buy and hold forever approach. So I think there's like the persistence in the pursuit of our goals and just like being relentless in that sense. And there's also like just the persistence of the company as a whole that's really important to us. Sometimes you just step back and you're like, wow, like how lucky are we that we have this like amazing group of people that care just as much about Evergreen, what we're building here and what we're doing for our companies. Like it's really like, it's amazing.